Okay, morning YouTube. Had my night in the garage, and time now is 6:35. A good rule of thumb for when's the right time to bug out is when the street lights start to go off. You know, so let's hope we can get up and on the move before that happens. Morning YouTube. 6:36 the next morning. I've had the night in the garage and very warm, very comfortable. Managed to keep the fire going pretty much all night long, and once I'd eaten last night I set into my routine, and my routine was to feed the fire, to read my book, and to sleep. This little book is my New Testament that my mother gave me, and if you're not at all religious, it's still the greatest storybook in the world. What I'm going to do now is I've got to start getting a move on. A few things that we need to bear in mind before we start mixing with the local community. Okay, some of the major things then that you're going to have to take into consideration is I've had a night in the garage now with a wood fire, so I smell of smoke. The other thing is that I've been out probably 14, 16 hours, something like that. So I'm starting to look a little bit shabby. You know, I'm unshaven, I haven't cleaned my teeth. Little trick for an emergency toothbrush. Get a piece of wood off of a tree, a little twig. Just strip the bark off of it for about an inch at the end and chew it in your teeth until it turns into something resembling a paintbrush, and that's a brilliant emergency toothbrush. You know, that will get all the gunk out from your teeth. I'm going to need to find somewhere to have a wash, you know, maybe a public toilet or somewhere, but that's a priority. You know, I don't know if you've ever stood next to a homeless person, but if you have, you know, they have a little whiff about them, and it's instant that that they're living rough, you know, so perhaps we don't want that to come across. This smoky jacket that I've got on, it's a dead giveaway, so at some point I've got to get that off, maybe air it. I wouldn't even be adverse to finding somewhere I could rinse it out, and what I'm thinking about is, you know, a river, stream, pond, anything like that. This is a cotton jacket, so it will dry really, really quickly in a bit of wind. I'll clean the garage out, and the garage is very simply as I found it. You know, I've taken the bin, I put the bin back over there where it came from, so there's no trace, there's no sign that I've been here at all. The world's starting to wake up, you know, so on that basis it's time to get a move on. Last night I managed to have a my hat and my scarf that I've got on was all the difference to keeping me warm and in good order. Okay, so we're ready to move out now. There's a golden rule, and the golden rule is one route in and another route out. You know, if anyone sees you moving in, you know, let's say the local community, local gangs, maybe even local law enforcement, there's a possibility that they may be waiting for you on the route out. So never go out the same way that you came. Being homeless can be really dangerous. I was a paramedic for the best part of 20 years. I used to run the only ambulance station in the city of London. There was a homeless guy who worked on Petticoat Lane Market. He was an alcoholic, he lived rough, used to get 3 or 4 of those bins, push them together, put some cardboard boxes on the ground, and that's where he lived. He'd help people put their stalls out on the market and help them pack them away, do little errands during the day. Everyone would give him a few quid. Every Thursday he'd get his benefit money that the state gave him, and he'd go out, he'd buy as much alcohol as he could for the money that he had. He'd drink himself into a coma. I guess he did that because sleeping on the streets is hopeless. It's a life without hope. There were a couple of young kids, 18, 19-year-olds, used to systematically hunt this guy down to steal his money. They'd been doing it for months. He was deeply unconscious in a drunken stupor, and the kids found him. They couldn't wake him up. They couldn't find his money on him. I guess maybe he'd hidden it somewhere. They thought it'd be really funny if they set this guy on fire. That'd wake him up. Well, he didn't wake up. He died. The two kids went to prison for the rest of their life. Living on the street can be tough, and it can be dangerous. Okay, we've got this bit of open wasteland that I've found, you know, and this would do for hiding out for a few hours. It's still very early and it's quite cold, so once I've sorted myself out some food, if I have to, this is where I'm going to come back to, just because it's isolated and out of the way. No one's going to stumble across me here for the next few hours before I start to get my act together and head home. You know, I came out about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I've still got maybe 10 hours to get through on the street before I'm heading back. You recall yesterday, but there are a couple of scenes of big old fat wood pigeon and squirrel. What I did as I was moving through there is I put a bird trap in the tree for the wood pigeon, and I think that may be what you can hear in the background. I put the trap up. I found that pigeon sitting in that tree about midday. I think that that's his routine. You know, he'll be back there at 12 o'clock today for a little snooze. So let's hope he finds my bird trap, and that will be another nice little scoff. The palm of your hand, you know, what we need is carbohydrate and protein the size of the palm of your hand, and ultimately you need it twice a day. Wow, perfect. Public toilet. This is just the place to get me in, get a wash, get cleaned up, get rid of some of this smoke smell. Wow, no towel, can't have everything. I'm just going to use my scarf, get myself dry. Wow, all you got to do is ask. I popped into the church. They furnished me with a beautiful cup of coffee and a chocolate biscuit for nothing, mate. Still no one about, just 7:10 now. Plenty of time to get myself sorted. So far I've cleaned away my overnight stay. I found somewhere to have a quick wash, and I've got myself a cup of coffee. 7:10 in the morning. How bad's that? Just talk you through this bird trap. So there's my EDC. In it always have that green gardening twine and that green just gardening wire. You know, it's brilliant for traps. Okay, this is a very basic bird trap. What we've done is we've made a loop out of a branch, tied it with a bit of cord, set up a perch with a bit of bait on it. This is our toggle, and the engine is a bungee cord in this case, but you could as easily use a branch. The trouble with using a branch is it loses its elasticity really quickly. If it stays in place long enough, you know, what happens is that it just stays in the bent over shape. But hopefully, you know, our bird lands on the perch to take the bait, and when it does, it gets caught. Basic bird trap.